The Orioles, the question mark is, well, who do they have? Because now you have Zach Eflin out. And that was the one guy. This one hurts, Zach.
Yeah.
This freaking hurts. And we're going to talk about a panic meter. This is where things for a team can get dicey when you have these injuries early. Again, I'm going to reemphasize, we're not going to know about what it's going to be moving forward. We don't know what the Orioles are going to be, but injuries can very well derail you, and the Orioles got a lot of them. And the one guy of this staff that you could not have go down was Zach Eflin, given the circumstances. And he actually was off to the best start so far. He was dealing in that game in Arizona, too. So, Zach, I guess I'll ask you then first. If we're having a panic meter on your eyes, 1 to 10, on this Orioles pitching staff, where do you sit?
Are we going whole pitching staff or starting staff?
It's a very interesting point.
Bullpen has been.
Maybe I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
Let's go whole staff.
Whole staff, I'm going to put it at a 5. Not very panicked because simply of how the bullpen's pitching. The only thing that I'm panicked about is getting to the bullpen or guys not going deep enough to where the bullpen then gets taxed and we start seeing this incredible start from the bullpen slowly start to dip off in performance. Whole staff, I'm going to say not that concerned because I've seen the bullpen, and that starters, I'm going to put it at an 8 because it's not that I don't trust the guys they have. It's not that I don't think that guys coming back, Grayson, Eflin, all that. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. It's from the fact of month and a half ago, we were talking about, okay, the Orioles have great depth at the starting pitching position, and you felt like they were built well to win in the regular season because of the depth, because of the experience. They have guys that can find ways to win. Well, then Grayson goes down, then Eflin goes down. So now you're down your 1-2. Already in a staff that you really kind of felt weird about not having a 1. Those were the 2 guys. If you would have before the season said there's 2 guys on the pitching staff they can't afford to have miss a lot of time, it would have been Eflin and Rodriguez. So in that aspect, I am concerned. I'm very concerned in just what the next move is going to be, because now a guy like Brandon Young, he has to step up until Gibson's ready. Now Kyle Gibson goes from a luxury to, okay, now it's a necessity. He has to take that 5 spot and produce. It just all of a sudden it turned a lot of the, hey, this is a good situation to have because of the depth and everything, and they can mix and match guys, kind of play it in that way, because you're going to have to use, I think Ben McDonald said about 11 starters a year, team's average. So you're going to have guys miss time, have to have guys pitch here and there. And you felt good about the Orioles position there with how much depth they had. You felt like they had an abundance of those mid 3 guys, those Dean Kramers, the Charlie Mortons, although I think he's more closer to a 4 or 5 at this point in his career. You had solid guys, especially when you added in Grayson and Eflin. With them going down, it suddenly turns into, okay, you need guys to step up. It went from Cade Povich, oh, you're doing pretty well to start. You're getting your feet underneath you. Hey, now we need you to win games. It's no longer the, hey, this is the luxury of, the Orioles are winning all this. This is it. This is, you need Povich, you need Brandon Young now. These young guys where it went from, hey, this is good experience to them, to now you're sitting back and you're going, oh, crap. Hey, we need you to win. We need you to help this team on April 9th instead of, we were hoping to maybe see this issue maybe late June, maybe once guys have gotten back, all that. So it just overall, that's my biggest concern is not necessarily, what if Eflin's misses a lot of time, all that. It's that now the depth has kind of been exposed, and you, in a lot of ways, now it's put up or shut up for some of these young guys. And that's an unfortunate situation for them. It's sink or swim, for Povich and for Brandon Young and these, whatever young guys now come up, they don't have the luxury of being able to fail and being like, hey, this is a time to get your feet underneath you. It's, hey, you're now the number 4 starter. You're now the number 3 starter if you're Cade Povich. So that's my biggest concern overall for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when you lose your veterans, to what you were saying there to alluding to, it puts pressure on players that are trying to then figure out their footing in the big leagues. So in this case, could things turn out to be okay? Sure. Right. I would say in the case where I'm just concerned, I'd say on the starting staff, I would go a little bit lower on saying a 6 on the staff. I got no concern with the bullpen. I'll explain that in a second. It's mainly because I don't know if these injuries keep adding up or you lose Eflin for a longer period of time, you're banking that Povich is going to have to ascend his game, and that's a little bit more pressure on himself. I think Dean's going to come around. I think Charlie Morton is going to come around here, and I think it's close. I really do. But could it never fully come to fruition? There's that possibility, but I'm going to trust it as long as he's healthy that he's going to be able to figure it out. But no Eflin, no Grayson, your two best arms on the staff that you're banking on going to the season, they're down. That puts pressure. But one thing that I do want to remind people of, in 2023, the Orioles' strength wasn't their starting staff. And even in 2022, it wasn't. The reason why the Orioles stayed in so many games was because their bullpen was lights out. Their offense then was able to come back and win games. The Orioles were the best at comeback victories in 2023. And they were also one of the top teams in one-run games. I think the bigger part for me, Zach, is execution overall as a team than with the pitching staff. I think the execution, they haven't done and played a complete game the way that they've hoped to all the time. But you see that their offense can fire with the best of them. Their bullpen, like Felix Bautista has one of their quote-unquote worst ERAs on their actual active bullpen rosters. And I'm not worried about Felix at all. I think he's going to get comfortable and he's going to get rolling. How about Sir Anthony Dominguez? Everyone was worried about him.
Everyone.
Because of the spring. Also, Corbin Burns had a terrible spring last year, but I digress. Dominguez is off to a great start. This bullpen is off to a great start. Sagano, great second outing. He, to me right now, the X factor, there's more pressure on Sagano now to be that guy.
Yeah, yes. And that's where I'm talking about, where it's the effects that maybe you aren't immediate. I'm like, yeah, it sucks that Eflin's not going to pitch. It sucks that Grayson can't pitch right now. But it's now Sagano went from, hey, this is the wild card. Hey, if whatever it may be, if Sagano pitches like we think he should, then it's a massive plus. Now it's almost a necessity. Now you're like you said, now it's on Sagano to be like, hey, I have to be that kind of 1-2 instead of maybe easing into it. Maybe you get to the point where it's like he's producing, but it's not to the point of he has to, especially immediately while he's he's in a new country. He's playing, against new competition. You would like for him to have that kind of grace period to ease into it all. But after that, now you're sitting there going, okay, sorry, Tomoyuki, you went from, hey, get your feet underneath you. Hey, learn the ropes, all this, focus on what you got to do to now, unfortunately, in a big game, obviously we are 5 months away from the playoffs. But if it was game 1 tomorrow, it's like, okay, is Tomo the guy that you would have to send out there because he has the most experience in baseball overall, stuff like that. He's put up the best stats. It's just an interesting situation where it puts pressure on guys that they didn't necessarily need that pressure on them.
No. And again, you go back to it. Every team's going to talk about why you like veterans or having guys that are dependable. And that's why I talk about Cedric Mullins all the time, Zach. It's not that I'm saying that Cedric's the best center fielder out there in the game. But do I think Cedric's a very damn good player? Yes. Why? He impacts the game in so many different ways. If he's not hitting, which people go, well, hey, he doesn't hit this Ryan or gets on base. Well, some guys have no other value if they don't do that. Cedric does. When he's not in center field, it can be pretty noticeable, can it, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So you're talking about a guy that can handle that and make an impact on the base pass, at the plate, in the outfield. Oh, and by the way, though, you don't have to worry about him. He's going to be okay mentally. He's going to figure it out. It might be some slumps. There might be some periods, but you don't have to worry about Cedric's demeanor and learning how to be a big league player. He already knows how to do that. Other guys are trying to figure that out. So the Orioles are in a position right now where they are just going to have to continue to weather the storm. To be quite honest, though, Zach, I'd rather this stuff happen right now. I hope that this is the end of all of it. I hope while every team's trying to get their feet wet, that this could be a time for Baltimore to continue to ride out the wave, ride out till you get some of those reinforcements back,